Before we even get into the rest of the episode, let me tell you, no, Ooh was not killed by a garage door.
When someone meets my family, they inevitably ask, "How are you, you?" Why is that, you ask? Have I got a story for you?
Now, it's not like life with Ooh was all roses and happiness and joy and what have you. She's one of the people that, at the end of college, when I got really sick, vomiting of the blood and the no sleeping and the night sweats and the constant fever and I couldn't eat, that fun stuff. After I came home, she was one of the people that was constantly calling my house. Like family members I've barely spoken to ever, which is mostly all of them, because for the most part, my family members, like outside of my immediate family, don't talk to me at all. Like, and my first cousins and my mom's, like outside of that, nobody talks to me. Especially if they're older than me, they really don't pay attention to me at all. It's like I don't exist. And I know part of that was me as a child, and it's also something that I took a really long time to deal with, and college helped me out with, where I can't. I assumed that everyone older than me wanted nothing to do with me. So it was really hard for me to connect on a personal level with someone who was older than me. And it didn't even matter if it was like 1 or 2 years. If I knew they were older than me, I would avoid them like the plague, because I assumed that's what they wanted me to do, just avoid them like the plague. But anyway, when I was originally going, it was right as Fukushima happened. That's when I was about to graduate college. The Fukushima reactor blew, the tsunami and all that. And like, people that family members we've barely spoken to were calling my mom like, "You can't let him go. This is a stupid decision. He would never survive. He's gonna die. He's gonna come back irradiated." To which I was like, "Yo, give me them superpowers, son!" Like people calling the house, like friend of friends calling my mom like, "You can't let your son go. This is a terrible decision." And it was one of those people. She called like every day to tell my mom, to tell me that I was stupid for thinking that I could go to Japan and teach English. And even like after I didn't go because I was way too sick. Let's face it, if I wasn't sick, which I'm thinking maybe something psychosomatic there, but whatever, that's a story for another day. That you already know most of anyway. But after I didn't go, then I got calls that were like, "Your son made the right decision in not going. It's great that he's staying with the family." And I'm just like, fuck all of you. All collectively, fuck you. Just a big I'm Mr. Mime now. I'm so irate that I'm Mr. Mime pushing walls of fuck you into them. That's it. That's just it. To this day, family members are still like, "You made the right decision sitting here feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah, that was the right decision." Yep. And I don't know if that's in a they honestly believe that I made the right decision in not going to Japan to teach, or if it's the right decision because I'm miserable like each and every one of them. But also, it's much easier to remember terrible stories. So, like, apparently when I was really little, I loved macaroni and peas, and I loved when Ooh and Didn't Make It made me macaroni and peas. So my mom would, like, leave me at their house, and I'd just be like, "Macaroni and peas, macaroni and peas, macaroni and peas." And I don't remember that at all. The one thing that I really remember, well, besides the basement, I remember the basement because there's Ooh Didn't Make It, and they had a brother, and their brother collected chess sets. And I remember just like walking through the basement, and there was just chess sets everywhere, really ornate, well-detailed chess sets. And I remember thinking it was so cool. That's how nerdy I was. Chess sets. Oh, you got a huge boner for a really beautiful chess set. Yeah. Anyway, the two of them, the one thing I really remember about being in that house is that one time we went out somewhere, and carpolepsy is my thing. I go to sleep in the car. It's just what happens. I'm gonna go to sleep. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna fall asleep. And they parked the car in the garage, and they got out, and I woke up in the car in the back seat all alone. Now, mind you, I'm sure I wasn't like a baby, but I was I'm pretty sure I was below 10. And you know when you're little and you're stupid, you're so afraid of being yelled at by adults that you don't do things? I was so stupid that when I woke up and all the doors were locked and I was trapped in the car, I started banging on the walls and the doors and screaming for someone to let me out. I was so stupid as a child that I honestly thought I was going to die in that car. And I was so extra stupid that I felt like it was better to die alone in this car than it was to break the window to escape and and get yelled at later for it. So at less than 10 years old, I'm in the back seat of the car alone, screaming and crying, like smashing the panels and stuff, jumping up and down, trying to get someone to come down to the garage to let me out of the car. And at less than 10 years old, I really honestly thought that I was going to die in the back seat of the car. Not even for, like, because it was hot or anything. I thought no one was ever coming to get me. And, like, that experience, to this day, still traumatizes me. I honestly thought I was going to die in that car. And it's so stupid to think about, like, what scares you as a child. Like, that was terrifying. And that experience has stuck with me to this day. So, for the record, if any of you guys out there have kids, have grandkids, have nieces, nephews, and they're less than 10, do not leave them in the car and lock all the doors and have everything be dark, because that's fucking terrifying to a child, okay? Okay? But now that all the sad times are out of the way, and like just telling you the story, you probably can't tell from there, but my eyes are welling up because that experience, that fucked me up for years. To this day, that still fucks me up, apparently, because I'm like on the verge of tears. I already cried in these videos. You don't need to see me cry anymore. So on to funny stories. Now, one of the times that my mom went to Arizona to visit the favorite child, we had Ooh here, and it was when I was trapped in Chitopia. But it was a little bit before that, like all the really terrible things happened, so she was still sort of normal, sort of functioning okay. And at this point, I was still with Liz, and Liz had come over, and Liz decided that she was going to clean out the fridge. Well, we were going to clean out the fridge. I helped. I definitely helped. I was there washing things, I was there throwing things out. And the two of us, because also Ooh was like, this is fucking disgusting. Someone needs to do something about this. So it became our plan, three of us together. We're like, we're going to do this shit. We're going to clean up the fridge. Because as you know, my mother saves everything. That includes food. And it was, there was stuff in there from my grandpa who had died like 10 years prior to when we were cleaning out the fridge. Like, it was gross. There were so many nasty things in there. We pulled out a baggie that day of what we thought was a lime, but it was actually a rotten lemon that when you poked it, it fucking moved. It was alive again. No, there was gross stuff in that fridge. And we also started to clean out the freezer. And when we cleaned out the freezer, we'd open the door. Who was sitting at the not the dining room table, the kitchen table the whole time, watching us and like giving us hints and tips on what we should be doing with this stuff. Like, you know, incinerating it in a fire. But at one point we would open we had opened the freezer door. And so the freezer door is open. And every time we would bend down to go into the fridge to get something while the freezer door was open, we would scream, "Watch your head!" And now, when you are constantly bending down and someone's like 3 feet away from you and they yell, "Watch your head!" every time you bend down, you start going like, "Huh!" and you're just about to hit your head on it because they're screaming at you. And this went on for like 25 minutes while we were trying to get stuff out of the freezer and the fridge. So every time someone bent down, "Watch your head!" and you would jump up, and then the other person behind you would be like, "No!" and stop you from smashing your head. So it was quite an enjoyable experience all around for her to be like, after like the first or second time, we got it. We understand. You don't need to keep screaming, "Watch your head!" We got it. We understand the situation. We understand. Now, this is not the first time someone has cleaned out my mother's fridge and freezer. However, my mother loved that Liz had done it. Apparently, I was not part of this at all. Neither was Ooh. It was just Liz. In my mom's eye, it's just Liz who cleaned it out, and it was fucking great. And up until like maybe 3-4 months ago, we've been broken up for like, I don't know, 2-3 years now, maybe 4. I don't know. I'm bad at numbers. That's a thing. Up until like 3 months ago, my mom had been like, can you maybe call Liz and have her come here so she can clean out my fridge and freezer again? And I'd be like, the fuck? No. At first I thought it was my mom knew I really cared about this girl. Maybe she wanted me to be happy. But no, it was she just really wanted this girl to be here to clean out the fridge and the freezer for her. Because she can't do it herself, apparently. So at one point, the favorite child had come to visit, and she decided she was also going to clean out the fridge and the freezer. And holy shit, I honestly thought my mother was going to murder her on the spot. It's totally okay when Liz did it. It's fucking wonderful and perfect. But maybe for the first time ever, my mom was like actually ready to disown the favorite child for throwing out all her nasty foodstuffs. And the favorite child was like, you're gonna get sick. And I'm in the corner like, no, see, I'm the only one who gets sick, apparently. Like, Valley Vajiria has this thing where she's like, I want to study your gut microbes. I bet you can ward off all the nasty food diseases with what's in your belly. And I'm like, you know what? I probably could. And I'm always pooping. So, I mean, I'm real good at getting the nastiness out of there. You know, when people are like, just eat around the mold, I did a lot of that as a child. I'm pretty sure I didn't do it effectively either, to be honest. Let's all be honest. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an effective method to begin with. Oh, you know how my friends have real trouble with water bottles? Well, my mom always thinks she's the victim in every situation, even if she's the one who did it. It's annoying. It's very annoying. But at one point, Ooh had a water bottle that she was carrying around with her because she's pooping all the time. She's very dehydrated. She's old. She needed that water bottle to be with her at all times. And she's carrying this water bottle around. And at one point, my mom had moved it out of the way, or probably poured it into a plant at some place in the house, because that's what she does. She takes the water bottles that I find wherever and pours them into plants, because my friends love to leave water bottles everywhere. But I'm pretty sure this water bottle was pretty much right next to Ooh the whole time, probably in the kitchen, because she loved to sit in the kitchen, or in the living room in the dark, in the chair in the corner, so she could scare you when you walked in the room. Because let me tell you, up until like the moment she died, she had impeccable night vision. Let me tell you. Might not have been able to read what was on the paper in front of her, but goddamn, she could see in the dark. And so you'd walk into the living room to get something, and she'd be sitting in the chair in the dark, and she'd be like, hello? And you'd be like, oh, God! All the time. All the time. So, back to the regular story, she had this water bottle on her table. And at some point, my mom had come in and taken it and probably poured it into a plant at some place in the house, because there's plants fucking everywhere. Ooh was like, has anyone seen my water? I was like, no, I'll get you another one. Now, normally when my mom tells me to do something, I say, okay, give me 5 minutes, and I forget, because I'm usually doing something. Contrary to popular belief, I do not spend every day downstairs in the den looking at the ceiling like this. Which is actually what my father thinks, which is kind of annoying. I'm sure my sister also thinks that, but that's only because she doesn't have object permanence yet. Even though, remember, she's 15 years older than me. Still doesn't have object permanence. Anyway, I'm like, no, I'll get you another one. When Ooh asked me to do something, I did it. Because there was urgency. Just old. I gotta get things done. And I feel bad. I don't really feel bad when I forget about something I was supposed to do for my mother, because she's gonna scream at me anyway when I'm done, doesn't matter. So I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go get it. And one time she's like, how come you do everything the moment I asked you to do it? You could finish what you're doing. I'm like, no, I'll forget. No, unless I literally write it down, I'll forget what I'm doing if I'm already working on something. What I'm supposed to do if I'm already working on something. So I just get up and do it. And I'm like, all right, I'll get you another water bottle. And I go downstairs, I'm like halfway down the stairs, and my mom starts fucking screaming. She's like, I didn't move the water bottle! And I'm like, No one had really accused you of doing so. We hadn't said it. We just assumed it was you, because that's what you do. It's not like I have to go fight a fucking bear to get a water bottle. I go in the garage and grab one out of the pack. Like, I don't understand why this, like, she fucking exploded. She exploded like a supernova of rage over the fact that she moved the water bottle. No, there's absolutely no reason for that. I'm just gonna go downstairs and get a pack. I don't have to fight a lion. There's no bears, no tigers. Oh my. No, I'm just gonna go get a water bottle and give it to Ooh because she wants a water bottle. Why the fuck did you explode at that? Of all the things to explode for, that was not one of them. The saddest, yet also partially the funniest part of being trapped in Shitopia was that when you can't control it anymore and you just poop uncontrollably, you start doing this thing where you start screaming at your own anus. You know, like those cartoons that are like, oh, you gotta curl up and kiss your ass goodbye? It's kind of like that, except you gotta curl up and scream at your own asshole. And when Ooh was still here, right before she went home, and it was really bad, and she was just shitting everywhere, that started to happen a lot. And I remember one time, it was super sad because it's funny, but it's also sad because she literally could not control it. It was not her fault. So she just took to screaming at her own anus as if that was going to stop the problem, which is funny. In the grand scheme of things, to scream at your own anus is quite funny because I've done it too. When I had violent diarrhea at some point, I've been like, stop! But Ooh would be in the hallway leaving little fucking confetti trails of goddamn toilet paper because someone decided one-ply toilet paper was great for a person with volcanic eruptions of diarrhea. One-ply toilet paper, great idea. No, it's a terrible idea. Do not do that to people. That's just mean. That's a death sentence in itself. So anyway, she's on her way to the bathroom and she's screaming at her own anus. She's like, why are you doing this to me? Stop! I can't control the flow! And I'm in my chair trying not to laugh because within context, that's terrible. That is an awful situation to be in. But the fact that you have to scream at your own anus is quite hilarious. So she's like walking in, and then I come outside and I feel bad. I'm gonna start cleaning up toilet paper and little specks of poo and what have you that are around. Because I'm pretty sure it had burst through her diaper at one point, which is sad. Very, very sad. Getting old sucks. And she came out of the bathroom and she had been screaming at her own anus while on the toilet. And she came out of the bathroom and she was crying and it was just so sad. And she looks at me and she's like, I hope you never end up in this situation when you're so old and you can't control anything anymore. That you take, and she's still crying. She goes, that you take time out of your day to scream at your own butt. You can't not laugh at that. That's funny, and it's coming from a place of profound sadness, but it's still pretty funny. Maybe I'm going to hell for this, but it was still pretty funny. And we have a ceiling fan over there, and usually the only time the ceiling fan is on is right before it rains and into when it rains, so that my mom can open all the windows in the house, because she loves to open all the windows in the house right before it rains, because, you know, and it's cool then. It's cool, right? It's true, it is quite cool right before it rains, but then all the windows in the house are open. You have the ceiling fan sucking air in from outside, which also means it's sucking the fucking water in, so everything is wet. Like you're in a bathroom with just after a shaggy dog after a bath. Like everything is wet in the house. My mom's like, I don't understand. I'm like, I do. It's just like basic physics. You go, and if there's water outside, it's gonna go, and then everything is wet. And so we have this ceiling fan that we basically only use to get the house wet, so we can all be upset. It helps a little bit. It's true when you have all the windows and stuff open and you're actually sucking in cold air. It helps a little bit. But I found the greatest use of it was, my mom loved to turn it on when I was streaming or recording a video, She still does. It's a thing. If I need her to be quiet, she's gonna turn on the ceiling fan, and it takes forever to start, and some of the blades get stuck. Well, not the actual blades, because if they got stuck, then there would be explosions and what have you, and there'd be flying shrapnel and crap. But I mean, like, of the cover for it gets stuck, so someone has to go hit them to open them up. But before you do that, or if you don't want to do that and you just want to wait, it goes caw, 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 before it turns on, which is terrifying. And it used to be in all my videos at some point. Caw, caw, caw. I found the greatest use for it was that it sucked up the stench of shit in the house. And at one point, I was filming or recording or streaming or something, and I was playing with Grim. And Grim was like, "What the fuck is that noise?" And I'm like, "It's that fucking useless ceiling fan. But you know what it is good for? It sucks up the smell of shit!" And Grim fucking lost it. But it was an honest observation. That's what it does. When it smells like shit in the house, you turn on the ceiling fan. Goodbye, smell of shit. Which is honestly what you need when someone's been screaming at their anus for the last 2.5 hours. It's honestly the best remedy to the situation, I have to say.
Hey there, guys and gals. Thanks so much for watching, as always. If you click the link on the left, you'll be taken to the previous episode. If you click the link on the right, you'll be taken to the playlist, where you can watch them all.